Was that your zin?
Yeah, I mean, was it
Your nicotine?
my nicotine for the day?
So,
I was actually, when I recorded the first episode, I mean, down the line maybe, like I had a vape and this thing down, and I was using that to ask people, like, can I get free product, or like, do you want to sponsor me a little bit of money?
yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, with time,
Yeah, with time.
I mean, it's all about the views, right?
It's the views, but also like, was it, one thing that changed slightly was like, compared to last time I saw you, I really was thinking about like, what, can it be bigger, or like, was it, what more is something unique to me? And then actually that changed to the idea of like, I can embrace the whole like China side of it. I can do everything actually in like 2 languages. I can also like set up social media accounts in China for like, and then that just allowed me to get like much more perspective on, because like China just it's a hugely undertapped market in general, with like regards to like one thing to put, for example, it's like China's, like let's say China's wealth, for example. So like one of the things, I haven't got any solid replies back, but like one of the things I've been asking, and maybe it's just like points of like touch for now, but it's like down the line, if I can grow, because for example, every video I film in China, because I'm going to Shanghai end of the year,
Okay.
and then also like every
Are you
video,
going to Shanghai?
yeah, I'm going to Shanghai.
Okay.
Well,
Is that what's the connection with Shanghai?
oh no, like both my parents are from there originally.
Okay.
So,
So
like,
you've been going back.
Like most of my life, like once a year, once a year, every year before COVID, and then since COVID, I've only gone once.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going again. But then, so mainly with holiday. But now I'm thinking, if I ever want to do content or just anything, there's another whole side to it, which I missed initially, and then I'm just
Getting it in that side.
I'm just wasn't getting in that side, see what they have. But also, for example, let's say for example, let's say I grow, because also it also depends on what kind of audience you have.
Yeah.
But let's say let's say my audience is more to like, let's say the high end, upper end, or like, let's say the super rich people in China, then one of the values would be is, for example, let's say as SA, South Africa also got tourism, like, I think so, South Africa recently got 1 billion rand tourism injection.
Okay.
So with things like that, like, for example, the reason why China doesn't come, like, there's not as many Chinese tourists compared to other countries is, it's just in general, it's like a lack of safety, and they don't feel like, they don't feel prepared yet to come here, like on a large scale. But for example, it's like, one of the things is, I want to go to play Shanghai. This time I'm going to Shanghai, I want to play golf.
Where do Chinese people go on holiday?
A couple of, let's say Japan's a pretty popular one.
Yeah.
Japan, Asia side, Macau for the gambling, because there's zero gambling in China. Then it's like America and Europe a lot. Africa much less in a general scale.
Yeah.
So it's more like the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So the USA, Europe and Asia mainly. That's where they're like, from what I know.
So like, I mean, obviously it's got quite a bit to offer here. I mean, the wildlife, that's a big draw card, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean that's a huge, but also some of them aren't. I would say some of them was like very interesting in like the wildlife, the nature side of it. But also remember, China's one of those.
What are they? I've got to put that on silent. Who's this? We're not filming, yeah?
Oh no, we are filming, but this is not like the official start.
Okay,
like,
let me kill that. So, what do Chinese people look for when they go on holiday? Are they looking for, shopping, sort of entertainment?
Shopping is a huge one.
Are they not really coming for the history, or are they? Not really. They're coming more for the excitement.
For excitement, for example, the reason why shopping is such a huge like thing for Chinese tourism, for example, is the way China's like regulations is set is that, to put it simply, everything that is like American branded, European branded, just like the value compared to anywhere else you bought, it's so much more expensive. Like, I put it this way, for example, let's just say any like nice luxury car, a car over $1 million, right?
Yeah.
A car over $1 million that's like Western based, so like Europe or like America or things like that. So that same car to get in China will probably be like all the fees and stuff until you can drive it. It costs at least like the double equivalent, and the more luxury the car is, the more the exponential, like it slightly goes up slowly, slowly.
Okay.
So like a car that is, for example, like a car, if we name like let's say like a super luxury car, let's say like a 4-5 million rand car, a Porsche or something, that same car, you would basically times it by like 2.5. And you would pay that amount in like the rand value, because the yuan's 2.5, 2.6 I think to the rand currently. But you'd basically pay the same amount in rands compared to but you're paying yuan in China. It's just everything from west side is much more expensive.
Much more expensive. Is that because of tariffs or why? Is it just marketing or?
Oh no. It's because of like I think it's because of like tariffs and stuff. Tariffs and also like the regulations.
They try and protect the local economy.
Yeah, but also
local production. So bring in. So the government charges tariffs for product coming in, and then obviously to protect local industry, because I mean China's obviously all about manufacturing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
No, it is, but. The ironic thing is that same product is made in China anyways. I think it's also due to like I think certain like the deals and stuff with like the brands and stuff being in China.
Okay.
But also the funny thing, but on the flip side, so for example, those same Chinese people, I think the one thing in general across all cultures and stuff like that is when you see someone, how do you say it? It's when you see someone who doesn't like have, a good way to put it is I would say class is a good way. So for example, like there's been so many videos of you see like Chinese tourism, when Chinese people go overseas and stuff, and they just behave unruly and stuff. But also another thing is like this was like before, I don't know with the current situation, but like much more common before COVID at least, they would go overseas and they would buy like, let's say it was a group of 5 like friends, like the older people, you'd buy like 5 Louis Vuitton handbags, 10 Gucci, this, because it's just so much cheaper. And I think also Chinese people, the one thing it's highlighted a lot is they love deals. You know how everyone loves deals?
Yeah.
And like also just the way how like the culture with money and everything.
So they like a bit of gambling?
Well, they love
a bit of gambling.
But they can't gamble in China. So they all the rich people fly to Macau.
Yeah, but they well, I see that. I mean, it's basically, do you think it's like new money coming in and it's like or is it just a cultural thing?
I think it's not new money. I would say it's more because of, how do I say this? I think it's how the society and culture sets up. Right, so Japan is known as one of like the safest countries in the world,
sure,
as we know it, and it's also like every other first world island country.
Yeah,
safety is one of the huge priorities, because if something happens, you can just lock all the harbors, you can lock all the airports, and you can't get away from there.
Sure. Yeah, but it's an island. Where are you gonna go?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the one thing you find commonly, I think it's amongst first world countries where society is like so restricted, so polite, right?
Yeah.
You almost want like to try some like things out of the norm.
Yeah.
For example, in China, gambling is like not allowed. Like let's not even like mention drugs and stuff, because for example in China,
there's not a drug problem in China?
There's a zero. I mean,
you don't get it. You don't find it.
Let me put it this way to you. In China, like anti-anxiety medicine like Xanax, Ritalin, all of that stuff does not exist. Total regulation. Like you can't even buy it in China.
That is interesting. I think
weed and anything you can think that's like more stronger than weed, all that stuff is also totally just doesn't happen in China.
Can you find weed there or?
It's a mesh. It's
so
a mesh.
If you're gonna use it there, I mean, let's say you get caught with something there.
Okay. Can I just to give you an example of a story, right?
Yeah.
So, like most people, I think, like most people, once they have money, a lot of the Chinese like rich people or like celebrities and stuff, a lot of them send their kids to like America or overseas for studying,
right,
for most of their lives. because it allows you to gain both aspects. You can speak both languages. You
Sure.
can also understand the culture a bit.
Yeah.
For example, a story that's not as heard, but like when it came out, like I was speaking to my parents because it was like headliner was Jackie Chan, Ten Long's son. He was coming back from America. He's coming back from America, and then somehow, somewhere, someone reported him. So he's charged. I'm not sure I think it was possession, but slightly bordering the distribution of weed, because it was just like it's so like the limit is so low in China.
Right.
For something like that, also with Chinese culture, it's in Africa culture. In Africa, we have Ubuntu, which is like a
Community.
tribe, like a
Yeah.
community in a
Yeah.
sense. A funny thing enough, like me being born and raised in South Africa, I see some links with like Chinese culture and African culture in the sense of if the kid makes a mistake, also like the parents, the family also like loses face, like has shame and stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing in China, isn't
No,
it?
that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So
And also Japan.
Japan also, yeah.
Yeah.
But so when the Jackie Chan's thing happened, was it like he had to like was it say all the stuff, media, press, everything, but also the dad, Jackie Chan, was like, I'm sorry for all of this, blah 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 blah. It's kind of like the idea of like I'm not saying you can't say like there's an absolute zero chance of like you can't find something, but it's close to zero, putting it that way.
Yeah. And the risk is just too
Oh
much.
no.
So what happens if you get caught with something there?
It depends. So I think
So let's say you get caught with like weed or something like that. What happens?
weed is not that like weed compared to like let's say if you have like let's say like the party drugs we talk about, like the European, as we know over the years, more and more slowly more and more countries have like relaxed their drug policy. Certain countries like Spain, Ibiza, we know is just a party city of the world. But like weed you'd probably get jail, get a massive fine and stuff. Nothing super bad, but if you're worrying in the lines of like, for example, like some of the drug problems we have in South Africa is, for example, such as fentanyl,
Cocaine.
opioids, cocaine, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
A day-to-day guy, average Joe Schmo, if that happened to China, you're going to jail for a long time, and if you have earned enough product on you, you're probably getting the death sentence. The death sentence still exists in China, actually.
Wow. Sure.
Very, very different world.
Yeah, but I in some ways I understand why, because what happens is let's say any country where it's much more readily available, it's a degradation of people. I mean, what those substances do to you, it absolutely degrades, your everything about you. So I get it. I mean, if you want a peak performing sort of society, then those things should not be part of the equation. So on the other side, I mean, you could say, if you look at guys like the Beatles, I mean, would they have written a lot of the music and stuff that they'd done? So in some way, it does also, contribute in a way through creativity. But is it worth it in the long run? It's probably not.
Yeah, but
and the result of sort of younger kids, getting involved with those types of substances is not good long term. So as substance abuse goes up more, your moral, you call it standards drop considerably. So I get it in some ways.
But also, I think to add on to that, I'm not sure if you've like read anything about like Chinese history.
Very little.
But
I'm interested in so my area of sort of focus is of sort of my heritage.
Yeah.
So where I come from, which is Greek, of
Okay.
course. So I look at a lot of that history, Roman history, and then like into Mesopotamia, that area there. As we call it, the cradle of, the birthplace of civilization. Not how they ended up in the east, it might have gone that way as well. So from Mesopotamia, that basin, people could have gone east, people would have gone west. So I'm not sure how it links into the eastern side of things. I know a little bit into India,
Okay.
because in the north of India you had a civilization, quite an advanced civilization there, which were the Indo sort of, what do they call it? It's yeah, sort of in northern India, Pakistan area. I think it's where the language of Sanskrit also came from. And they were quite advanced civilization there as well. And that goes back 6,000 years. So it's also old. But then further, not too much. A little bit, but not too much.
Okay, so the reason I want to touch on that point is even I'm not a perfect expert in my own history. I'm learning as the years go by.
Sure.
But one of the things I think that's also very foundational of why China is the way it is. First of all, to just give you some context, China is one of people don't I think understand how crazy this is, but China compared to any country in the world right now is the longest recorded country with documents and stuff. And obviously, as we know, history it's not always true. A lot of lies and stuff. Purely because I mean where that saying comes from. The winner takes all, and victory and history is normally written by the
victor.
The victor.
Sure.
But the cool thing is, so China at stage, like the last recent couple years, China had 5 emperors, and then basically the last emperor it was Empress Cixi, because basically the son was by the time he inherited the throne, he was only 6 years old, so he
Sure.
wasn't really technically
Yeah,
ruling
yeah.
the country. But through that transformation period of that, this is one of the things where it's China's dark history in a sense, where China had a huge opium issue. It was actually an opium issue that came from the west of
I mean,
European side.
didn't opium sort of originate in China?
Yes, but it was never an issue in China. But then it became.
Yeah, it came probably from further east, but Middle East, like Afghanistan, these areas.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
But basically, China had a huge opium crisis along with the fall of the last dynasty,
Yeah.
and also along with the war and stuff, the issues with Japan, all of that stuff. I think when Mao Zedong eventually created the PRC, People's Republic of China, I think it was just they understood a very simple thing, and I think in a general scale, you see why some countries perform or better managed than other countries is you need the idea of certain consequences or parameters, I would say more specifically, and strict parameters are super important. And as you said earlier, something like any form of drugs, gambling, for example, South Africa, in my opinion, has a huge gambling issue. I mean, one of a recent news I saw was South Africa has increased the limits where influencers, people who you see on your phone, social media. I'm not sure if it's been I know it's been passed. I'm not sure if it's been effective as of yet right now.
Yeah.
But they don't want influencers below the age of 25 to have they can't promote gambling. So before for example now, even some people in university, first or second years, there's so many different gambling websites here and there and all that stuff. And obviously once you perform, because at the end of the day with the world we live in now, attention in a way is the new form of currency.
Sure. Everything.
And it's in your face all the time.
So whatever route you decide to take, it's accessible, whether it's gambling, porn, whatever.
OnlyFans is probably one of the worst things to happen to humanity, in my
Sure.
opinion.
And I was chatting with a guy this morning in the gym,
Okay.
and we were just chatting about just the instance that happened with him. But yeah, I mean, it's everything is at your fingertips now. So The thing is, when you're young and you don't have all the resources that you would like, and you're desperate for those resources, let's say financial resources, so you don't have money, you're a girl or a guy that's 19, 20 years old, and somebody comes along that can show you the lifestyle, you know, the cars, whatever you want, you're easily impressionable and you're easily influenced, and that's where people get taken advantage of, because you're in a desperate situation, and if you don't come from, and that, where substance abuse also comes in, because it's also a tool that's used, and basically people get to have their way with certain individuals because of their vulnerabilities. So the thing there is, again, that's where substance abuse and things like that also, it's a moral degradation.
Can I just add to your point on that? I think a thing that people underemphasize is how you have issues like that, but also the amplification of. So I love watching, I love consuming content, but good quality, high form content. But I think on a general here's two funny things about social media. When I say social media, I refer to, let's just say, the young people these days, the most popular ones, mainly being like Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
I think those are the first two social media apps. If you say to the world right now, between, let's say, 16 to 30 years old, what's the two most common ones? At least in the West, you would say Instagram and TikTok, the most common ones.
Okay.
And here's the funny thing. So the people who are actually in the tech, like the tech industry, fintech, all of that stuff, who do, like, people who, for example, created, like, down the line, Patreon, all the different social media apps, one of the things a lot of people actually just say in general, social media is the modern day of, it's attention cocaine, basically.
Yeah, because it's like on a like physiological, biochemical level.
Yeah.
It's giving you a similar
Dopamine rush.
It's giving you a certain rush, probably not as intense as certain substances like cocaine or whatever. But it's
I hope not.
yeah, but
imagine how bad that would be.
Yeah, that would be bad. But certainly it's creating some form of addiction.
Yeah.
Through dopamine, serotonin, whatever it is that your body's releasing, and it becomes addictive. So the guys that develop it obviously know this, and they do it intentionally. So it is addictive to just keep on doom scrolling, so what do? There's countries now they've just banned social media.
Australia, for example.
Yeah,
I
Australia,
want to touch on that
and
point.
also Europe, right? Have banned social media until the age of 16, which I think is a good thing.
I think that's amazing.
And there's petitions going around in South Africa to do the same thing, which I think is very good. So I've got two young kids, and the thing is, you're just so influenced by, and you have access to all of these different things. You mentioned things like porn, OnlyFans, and the thing is, the draw in is becoming stronger. So you can have a young girl that is desperate because she's looking for financial, let's call it.
So it's a materialistic lifestyle.
Certain material lifestyle, but she might be in a difficult situation, and it's an easy way to, when you see, new women coming in, new young girls coming in to OnlyFans, and the kind of money that they're making, I mean, the draw is strong, right? If you're in a desperate situation.
Sorry, just one thing also I wanted to add upon is, I think this is like the essence of the problem is, with our generation, for example, things like that compared to before. 2 points. One is it's been much more normalized, like accepted.
Yeah.
Like compared to, how do I say this?
Because you're living in a virtual world,
Hmm?
right? So your identity becomes online. It's virtual. So it's not like the relationship that we have and we have with the people around us or our community, right? So there's consequences. There's people that know you, they know your family, etc., etc. So, whereas when you're in the virtual world, it's anywhere in the world. So, it's a form of that people don't always know who you are, and it allows you to kind of be something
You're not.
that you wouldn't normally if you were in your normal community. So maybe another aspect to it.
But like also to add on to that, also I think now with the whole social media space is also, funny enough, the original social media point was to like, I think, have you ever watched The Social Dilemma or The Story of Facebook? But
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
was it the original whole point of social media was to connect with friends, being able to see,
Sure.
was it, oh, my friend, oh, let's say he's in town, he's in overseas, cool,
Yeah.
oh, like, oh, you went to this place, just engaging with your friends and
Yeah.
stuff. Funny enough, I think, don't quote the exact metrics on this, but I know for Instagram at least, 97% of the time people nowadays, at least the young people, the time they spend on Instagram, for example, or the doom scrolling, but just on a general basis, 97% of your time is spent watching other people's content. It's not interacting with your own friends anymore.
Sure.
So that whole idea of what social media was made for in general has been flipped. And
Yeah, I remember when Facebook launched. Essentially, I mean, and I'm just thinking about what you're saying while we're talking. It's it was obviously a different way of going about things. I think they had, what did they have before that? Was MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace.
yeah,
But I mean, it's a little while back. But that was kind of like original. I think you could. MySpace was like it was a page, but and you had your content on there, similar to Facebook. But I think that was the original sort of social media platform. And then obviously things like
4chan stuff.
Okay.
Like different, just like community thread forms and so on.
Yeah, and then they had the music, Napster. I think that was those are the things that kind of started the movements that we're moving towards now. Napster, I mean, you could download music for free at a time when obviously everything was controlled by the record labels and the music industry. So it was obviously illegal, but you could go onto Napster and you could download whatever music that you wanted. And people talking to us from up there.
Yeah, someone
So-
say something.
Yeah. and then MySpace, and then something like Facebook, came about. But yeah, it was a bit gradual, there was some kind of a excitement to it, because what you could do now is you could connect with people all over the world, your friends that you don't see in every day anymore. So you're living in Stellenbosch, and you've got friends that have moved all over the world, and you could see what they're doing, and you could connect with them and communicate with them. So
I think it touches upon the essence of, how distance makes the heart grows fonder.
Sure.
In both general, in like friendships and relationships, because the absence of the partner, but also the friend, makes you realize, damn, I miss that guy, or I miss.
Sure.
And through social media initially was you able to at least get just a little bit of insight into what's been happening.
What's happening. Yeah, and then of course it started, people portray the best side of themselves, So, and that opens up a whole nother, world of things. You know, it and as it evolves, it becomes more like that, and it's so you're entering into this virtual world, which is not necessarily always reality. You know, and I think that the more that you delve into that, the more you're able to express sides of yourself that you might not always do. That's hence, it's things like OnlyFans, and maybe it's about the money. I'm not sure, but it's interesting, where we are now and then where we will go from here. So what's next is my question, in terms of social media. And AI and how it all sort of comes together, because what you're seeing now is that half the stuff that you're looking at already is fake.
I want to touch upon like how do you feel towards AI? Like, let's say in the year of, we're almost touching the year of 2026.
Yeah, and it's new. It's all new, right?
I mean,
So who knows where it's going to go?
To think that first development, so when you refer to AI, like the general language models like ChatGPT, DeepSeek, so on,
Sure.
it's called, we refer to them LLM. But I think the point of change where, was it one of the best quotes I've ever heard was the idea of time moves forward, but hindsight is 2025, but everything only makes sense backwards, both like your personal history and how the
Sure.
world.
Yeah, you can only connect the dots looking back. You can't connect the dots looking forward.
And if you connect the dots looking forward, you're gonna
Then
make a lot of.
yeah.
You're gonna change the world.
You are.
But I think that first stage of how the world changed was at the end. I remember very distinctively. It was near the end of 2023, was when ChatGPT 2 came out.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT 2 was basically the first time of, a good way to put it is the first time of you ask it anything
And you get
and
the
everything,
answer.
and you want
Well,
something
you get
from
an
it.
answer, whether it's correct or not, but you get an answer.
It was the first time where it was developed enough where it would answer, let's say, like 80% of the things right, 80% of the time. It was like revolutionary.
Sure.
I mean, it's funny enough, I saw on, I think, an Instagram reel the other day.
Yeah.
It was describing, imagine the first professor who ever saw like the essay of like the students using that first like a jump of like ChatGPT and like, this is the next Einstein or something.
Yeah. I know it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive when it comes to that. Yeah. Do you want something?
I'm good.
Oh, good. Yeah. Exactly. So, but now everybody uses it. So it's kind of like it's a given. I think more. Well, I would say what I'm starting to see now. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm dealing with a legal case at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. But I mean, the amount of documentation that I had to go through, to research, to spend my time going through, reading, it's thick. Okay, but it's not part of the day-to-day stuff that I do. So I'm doing this for other reasons than my business and whatever else that I'm involved in. So it's time consuming. But I can pop a couple of those things into AI and it does absolutely wonders, because I can summarize it, I can read it, it can come up with arguments, it can build a case for me, to the point where I was going to my lawyer and telling him, this is what you're going to say. And the thing is that I could build a legal case better than what he could, essentially. But what he was telling me is that, look, what's happening now, the lawyer was saying this, is that everybody's coming to him with AI stuff. And I think there is a bit of, people are feeling a bit threatened, because there's a number of cases where I would have paid a lawyer to do that. Now I don't need to do it. I need him to send the letter on his letterhead, because it's coming from a lawyer, right?
Yes, I understand.
So I want to use his credibility because he's a lawyer. But I give him all the information. And he has to tweak it a bit here and there because he knows. He says, look, and this is AI generated.
Yeah,
So-
because I mean, certain words and terms,
Sure.
like when you read it, you can tell, obviously.
Yeah, and I just think that everybody's doing it now, and the amount of data and information that it's not going to be me that's doing that. So they know it's AI.
But it works. The thing is, it works.
It does work. But you see, and then if you take it down the line, so certain things for like my medical stuff. Okay, so I'm into quite a few things around health and medical, and I want certain information. Like if I do a blood test, as an
Yeah.
example, I want to see like markers, biomarkers in my body, etc., etc. I pop that into AI, and it gives me a far better
Analysis, like,
insight than my GP ever could. And it can take you down a whole rabbit hole depending on how deep you go with that, you know. So yeah, I don't need to go see my GP anymore because I say I want the results. Give me the results. I put it in AI, and it gives me what I want. So it's a tool that I can use to give me what I'm looking for. Like if I had taken that data to my GP, as an example, he would go, okay, you know, it's very basic, the information. It's not the detail that I'm looking for. So there's
but also, I think, actually, side note, I know this is a bit too late, but since we're here, can you just introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah,
I think that would be nice.
Yeah, let's get there. We've been on another rant, so. But yeah, my name is Demitri Velissariou. Was born in South Africa, of Greek descent on my father's side. Mother is local South Africa, mix Dutch, Norwegian, German, English. And went to school here, raised in Stellenbosch, went to school here, traveled abroad, was always going to go into business because I come from a family of business people. So something I was always just going to go into. And then after school, that was always what I was going to do, is go into business. And then after school, I traveled for 2 years. I had a bit of an awakening, let's call it that, and really got into the health space. And this is probably, I would say, 25 years ago. Well, about 26, 27 years ago. And got into the health space and just got completely absorbed into that. So spent a lot of time studying that, researching it, and sort of trying to optimize myself into the best version that I could be. So I looked at that and then came back from traveling, went down that rabbit hole, and then sort of through that got into the food business because we're looking at health and other components. So I understood, I looked into where does our food come from, how does it get farmed, you know, all of these different things, everything sort of in a holistic health view. And in order to have an holistic health view, you have to understand all the different components, I guess, of life and how it impacts humans. And then one of the other things that I'm very interested in is maximizing human potential. And how do we become the best
Shout out to
version?
Brian Johnson. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to at the end, sorry.
But sure, he's vegan. I'm completely opposite to that. So yeah, I was vegan. I did go down that rabbit hole for a while. But
I'm never trying that, I'll be honest.
It doesn't work.
I like steak,
in my opinion.
I like steak too much.
In my opinion. Well, sure. And I've always liked steak. But I thought, you know what, let me experience this because I was reading a lot of stuff and there's a school of thought that veganism is the best. In a lot of ways, it does make sense when you think about it. So we kill animals to eat them. I mean, that in itself is it's a strange concept, right? So why would we need to do that in order, to survive? So a lot of things around that. So I thought, let me go down that rabbit hole. I became vegan, like strict vegan, for a while, because everything I do it quite intensely.
So like basically going all the way.
All the way in. Let's see it, and let's see what it's going to do for me. So I went all the way in, and I was like, this is going to make me superhuman, because I've never done this before. All my life, all I've known is, this is what you eat, and this is how you survive. So in order for me to experience something different, I need to do something drastically different, right? So let's see where this takes me. And then, of course, I was influenced quite a bit by my uncle, who was a naturopath. And he basically...
Could you explain briefly what naturopath is?
Naturopath is somebody that looks at holistic health and treats it with natural methods, essentially. So I
might be, just enlighten me on this. It's similar or different to homeopath?
Similar but different. Homeopathy is sort of also a natural treatment modality where they use natural substances, but it's got a more of a what do they call it? It's an energetic. It works more on a subtle level of your body, on an energetic level. So, for example, they'll take and they treat like with like. So, for example, if you have symptoms of, let's say, like psoriasis, so you get psoriasis is like you get inflammation on your skin.
Okay.
And, it's itchy, so it's psoriasis. They would look at substances that create that in your body. And then they would dilute it into much smaller quantities, and they would treat you with that. So in a way, it's like a vaccine. If you look at the way a vaccine works, it's very similar. So what do you do in a vaccine? You take the substance that causes the illness. So like if you take COVID as an example, let's not talk COVID because that's something different. But like, let's say you take, basically with a vaccine, you take the diseased substance and you weaken it, and then you inject it into your body.
And your body gains immunity based on that, yeah.
Exactly. So it's the like treating like, right? So the same with homeopathy, it is like treating like. So it's kind of your body builds up some form of resistance and immunity to it. So it cancels it out. And that was the theory behind homeopathy. Started by a guy called Samuel Hahnemann, a German guy. How we treat in modern medicine is opposites. So it's more on a Newtonian sort of theory, where if you have a reaction, you need to treat it with the equal and opposite reaction. So it kind of cancels it out.
Almost like the sense of how we use the word like anti-venom to kill venom in the sense.
Yeah, it would be like you have some kind of compound that you ingest that counteracts, the
core of the issue.
The core of the issue. But a lot of guys, there's different schools and thoughts on that. But so that's essentially how modern medicine works. And then so homeopathy is like treats like, not opposites. Like a vaccine. And then naturopathy is not diluted forms. It's a little bit more like conventional medicine. It's taking a substance, whether it is dietary, so it looks at you holistically again. So it looks at what do you eat, what is your relationships like, what is in your environment, you know, are there chemicals in your environment that, you know, are affecting your health, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a holistic view of health. So diet being one of those, and that's how I also got into the food industry. So through looking at that, I understood the agricultural side, the growing side, what we're ingesting, how does it affect our health, et cetera, et cetera. So looked at that, and then that took me into business, essentially, and then in the food space, started going into business in that space around 2005, so also about 20 years ago. But you know, it's kind of and got involved with a food production business that supplied retail.
So the term agri-food would be a good way.
Yeah, agri-food is the space that I'm in right now, but also, yeah, on that side. And then I've got different food businesses that I'm involved in, but I can get to that. So the spaces that I like is health and wellness, the food space, business, so entrepreneurship, self-development, self-improvement, human potential maximizing, and yeah, so that's really what I'm about. And I've got different food businesses that I'm involved in currently. We supply retail, we can produce. I've also got a restaurant that I'm involved in, and I've also got a.
Funny enough, we actually at like the backside courtyard of this restaurant.
Yeah, that's right.
Of the proud Yo-Yo Cafe.
That's it.
Of Stellenbosch.
Yes.
I think by the end we'll give you just a little quick tour, a little gander.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. You didn't pay me to say that, I just want to say. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
As you were saying?
Yeah. So maybe we should get some, what are we on lunch or breakfast?
Well, it's like, what's that word? Brunch.
Brunch.
Brunch they call
Okay,
it.
of course. Best place for brunch. But yeah, so that's it. And it's been an interesting journey and constantly learning. And I think that's what it's all about. Like traveling as well. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. So the real question is,
Yes.
when's the last time you ate McDonald's?
Oh, wow. A while back. Look, every now and again, maybe sneak it in if I'm desperate. But yeah, no, I don't go there. I don't go there.
Like, was it? I think it's underemphasized, once again, I like that word these days, is how dog shit that is for your body.
Absolutely. I mean, you can feel it when you have it. If I have it.
Can I tell you just like,
Yeah.
I think so more recently, I would say probably for like the last 2 months, ever since I've been kind of like trying to do my own thing,
Yeah.
like with this thing, and also, but I've been trying to live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I've always like read into that space, and like I know a lot of information, but practicing, just because you know something and practicing is two different things.
Discipline. You have to have discipline.
But I'm proud to say, at least for the last like while, I've been health, wealth, like going to gym.
Yes.
Starting.
Well, that's where we met, right?
I mean, funny.
Where do we meet? we met in the sauna, didn't we?
No, it was the.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The recovery room, as I think
Right.
it's the recovery room.
Yes. The recovery room. We were sitting in some boots,
Like-
some recovery boots.
I forgot the word. It's basically, it's like you see those athletes when they have their legs into those
It's compression boots.
compression leg boots.
Yeah, compression boots.
And that's how we met. Funny enough. I
Yeah,
mean.
that's how we met. We started chatting, and then you said, "Listen here, I've got this podcast. How about you come on?"
Funny enough, the day I met you and I asked you about that was also the day I recorded the first like episode.
Yeah, but you just recorded one, I think.
No. Like I
you
recorded
recorded it
that
that day?
that day. 3
Oh,
hours,
wow.
like 2-3 hours before. That.
Funny that, eh? The universe is a way of bringing people together, I guess.
Maybe it's fate.
Maybe it's fate.
But what I was trying to say is, so like I've been eating super healthy, super clean, only organic. Like
Organic, really?
I mean.
No, I mean if you can get it. I mean.
No. I mean like, I've been prioritizing that much more. Like
Yeah.
just like the same. For example, mainly my diets these days, if I had to say like a day in a life of Jerry Chen, it would be I always try get protein, mainly steak or like chicken, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Get fruit. Fruits
Yeah.
is very important.
Yeah, yeah,
Fruits. Get some eggs, good
Yes.
fats, avo,
Yes.
and then also some like just whole grain bread or like
Okay.
oats, for example.
Okay.
That's like what more I've been like eating.
That's a good,
And-
sounds
and-
like a
and
well balanced.
I think, well, I mean, I feel a lot more energetic throughout like these days
Yeah.
compared to before. Also sleep. Sleep is super important.
Sleep is huge. Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is the last two times I ate McDonald's.
You could feel it.
No. I'm more than faulted. I vomited it out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was like, but also that was going, like I would never say I ate super unhealthy.
Yeah.
But going from like super healthy and then I ate that McDonald's and something about it just fell off. It was like,
Sure.
it sucked. Like
Wow.
you could see your
Well,
body.
that's your body saying, listen, this is not working. I don't want this.
And the worst part of all is it's not cheap, eh? Fast food.
Yeah, it's become
compared
it's
to the
become a
original.
lot more expensive.
No, like I was doing the maths one time. It was, I think I ordered like burgers. Was it like a meal, nuggets, added a McFlurry. I never regret that. The McFlurry. Let's go. But then I looked at the pricing and like what's the most common, like let's just say like high-end organic food product brand in South Africa is Woolworths. It's made
Sure.
it's probably the golden standard.
I can't comment on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
We supply, some of these retailers. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're all good. I mean,
mean-
Woolworths is good. There's a couple of them are good as well.
Yeah, but was it? I'm saying like the gold standard from just like when you think of Woolworths, like just the natural connotations of it, you think
It's quality.
good, high quality food.
Yeah.
I mean, the price also speaks for itself.
Sure.
But then also when I like compared McDonald's, I mean, if you're really hungry, spending 250 rand for yourself at McDonald's I'm a pretty big guy, but just for a general person, it's not crazy these days with like the pricing.
Easy.
And that same 250 rand,
Yeah.
you could actually get like if you just buy obviously you buy a bit more food, but that same meal you could eat like a nice steak, couple eggs, avocado,
Yeah,
fruit,
yeah.
and it's still cheaper.
Yeah. And that's a good diet right there. I mean, so what I was saying with the vegan, I was vegan for a while, went full tilt into it. I became weaker and weaker. So like because of the training, I just wasn't able to train at full capacity. And then I remember how I went off that was like one night my body was just craving something, and I went to the deep freeze, took out a packet of boerewors
Okay.
in the middle of the night, put it in the pan, ate it, and it was like instant. I could feel it like instantaneously. It was like an energy surge that came into my body, and it was like, this is what I've been missing. So, and then from there, I went down another rabbit hole, which was almost the opposite of
Okay.
vegan, because I knew, okay, this, I just tested the.
The carnivore diet.
Well, I didn't go carnivore. I went on to, there was a guy that actually, I think, started a lot of the movement in this whole carnivore space. There's a guy called Weston Price. So if you've never heard of him,
No, I haven't.
you must go research him.
Okay.
And he wrote a book, which I got introduced to and read, and it's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. And basically what they did was he was a dentist back in the 1920s, and he traveled the world looking at like primitive, isolated groups of people living all around the world. So he looked at South American tribes, so native South American tribes. He looked at the North American tribes, the Indian, the Native Americans. He looked at isolated Swiss groups living in the mountain away from, westernized diets. And then he looked at tribes in Africa. He looked at the Maoris in the Pacific Islands. and all these different isolated groups all over the world. And what happened, like what was their traditional diet? What did they eat? So they ate meat, fat, a lot of fat, because a lot of the vitamins is fat soluble.
Well, I think, oh yeah, was it? I think let's touch upon that just briefly. I think one of the biggest misconceptions regarding food is like fat is not good for you.
Exactly, exactly. So it's so meat, fat, and animal organs. So they ate a lot of. That was the prized possession, the organ, because that contained the most nutrients. And then basically, and fish was another big one. So like in certain groups, they ate
The
fish.
Mediterranean.
Well,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Maoris, the Maoris, if you look at their physical stature, we know them in rugby quite well.
Yeah.
I mean, they're specimens, you know, and they ate a lot of fish. So fish is really good. And then so they looked at like the health of these people. So they had no degenerative diseases like diabetes and, you know, heart disease and cancer and things like that. Okay, it didn't exist in these communities. Also, one of the other things is their jaw structures and dental arches
Yeah.
were a lot more prominent. So they could take the wisdom teeth, a lot of them, and they never had crowding of the dental arches where today we get a lot of people needing braces. It's because of westernized diets. So what is westernized diets? It's basically your, refined white breads, jams, sugars, soft drinks, all the junk, all the processed food essentially that we're eating is causing us to change physiologically.
Or it's modern day poison.
It's modern day poison.
It's packaged nicely, PR, branded.
And it's also, again, it's like social media. It gives you the dopamine kicks or the highs that wants you going for more. And it's why you find a lot of behavioral problems today as well. So it stems from essentially what we're eating. But the minute you go back, so what he did was, so like fat, butter, you don't eat margarine. I mean, we were told for years and years and years to eat margarine because butter's bad for you. But it's actually the exact opposite. So, and then of course the oils, everybody talks about the seed oils today as well. So, I mean, that's essentially what margarine is. It's a highly processed seed oil gunk that we're consuming. So the best is to go back to what we used to eat. And what he found was that, so, you know, cavities, a lot of cavities, bone density was reduced, so you didn't have, you know, strong bones. In one generation, the dental structure became smaller. A lot of degenerative diseases come in. And then what he did was he said, okay, let's take those same groups of people that were introduced to these westernized diets within one generation. Let's put them back onto their traditional diets, and then let's see what happens. And basically he reversed what had happened, essentially, through introducing them to a diet of high protein, high fat, you know, a natural diet, essentially. So I got into that, and I went down that. So it basically went to the opposite way, so high protein, and that's sort of where I am right now, is kind of in between. But yeah, that seems to be working quite well.
So, I mean, okay. Take me through like a day of what you would eat. Do you eat 3 times, 2 times a day? Do you do fasting?
Yeah, I used to fast a lot, actually. Like in that period where I was telling you, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I used to fast a lot because like I would go 7 days without for cleansing.
Okay, yeah.
So I would do that. Often I would do like 3-day fasts. But now I don't fast anymore. I think it's still a very good thing to do, but I just haven't incorporated that side of things. I was going into, you know, building in the gym a little bit more.
Okay, yeah.
So, I think it's a good thing. So I do maybe like an intermittent fast. I don't eat breakfast till like, let's say 10. And then I normally have dinner at, let's say 7.
Oh, okay, like
So there's like
certain-
a little bit of an intermittent fast
Yeah.
every day. And if I feel like skipping a meal, I'll do that. I think you should eat when you feel hungry.
what's that? I think one thing that's also, I think I read this on somewhere, like the idea of a healthy lifestyle is also, I think the whole idea of breakfast, lunch, and dinner is just, it's all.
I've heard that as well. Yeah.
It's like intuitive eating. Your body
Yeah.
will tell you when it needs something
Sure.
in general.
So interesting. Your mind connection with food is very powerful. So because if you think about it, like it's like it's part of how you do things. Since when you were a baby to an adult, essentially what you do is you consume food every day. And what happens is when I started doing my like week-long fasting, it was interesting to observe what happened on the mental side, because your body's saying, give me food. I want it now, because it's what it's been used to every single day. Without you even like consciously, necessarily thinking about it. It's just like a subconscious thing that you drive yourself towards to do. So the minute you take that away, your mind starts to do some interesting things. I mean, after 3 days of not eating, I started dreaming of food, as an example. But I felt really good. Like my energy levels went up a lot, because what happens is that your body's always used to digesting food. It's a very energy sapping thing to do. It's a large part of like your energy output for the day is digesting food. So the minute you take that out and your body no longer needs to do that, all of a sudden you've got the surge of energy. So
it's almost like that energy that was allocated
to
for
digestion.
for digestion. It's just now you have it.
Well, now you have it, and what happens is, and the theory behind it is that now it starts to clean up your body. So it starts to take care of, maybe other things that need attention in your body. So that might require, healing, or areas where you need attention. So if all the accumulative stuff that we do, a lot of it does come from eating and how we eat and what we consume. Your body gets a chance, the healing forces of your body actually gets to focus on other areas of your body. So that's why it's so good for you, the fasting component.
No, I actually I read on something recently. It's the idea of how, like, after, not like a week fast, but let's say, I think if you do like a 2 to 3 day fast, 48 hours or 72 hours, after a certain point,
your digestion shuts down.
Shifts, but also it's like the body actually takes like the bad cells or like the bad parts of your body, and then basically like just refine it.
Autophagy, yeah. So it's basically your body consumes like the dead cells, and it gets rid of it, and it kind of reinvigorates your cells. But you need 3 days for your digestion to actually shut down. And then your digestion shuts down, and then your body just goes to everything else.
I've actually never fasted for 3 days.
Yeah.
I think the longest I've gone for was probably maybe 24 hours.
24 hours, which is still good. It's still good. But it's, after 3 days, you actually feel shit. So but the 4th day you feel good, because it's a lot of stuff starting to move out of your body, stuff that's starting to detox, and you get headaches. Some people get headaches. They don't feel well after 3 days. But day 4 or 5, your energy just
Prime.
yeah.
What's your take on supplements? Like,
yeah, I mean,
because if you have a look online, like there's 20,000 things in your face with
Sure.
20,000 different things representing things.
Yeah, I think if you've got a good diet, that's like number one. So if you're eating the right things, you should be getting most of the nutrients from the food that you consume. So if your diet's spot on, then I don't think you necessarily need supplements. Like in my case now, what I did was I did a blood test, And like there's certain things that came up, so you can see a lot by the blood. And I'm trying to fix those things. So I'm using certain supplements to help me fix certain things. But I think once you reach a good equilibrium, then your diet should be good, you know, and exercise and doing all the other things, you know, that, I mean, health it's holistic. So it's not just one thing. It's of course a few things that you need to be doing.
Well, the reason why I touch upon that is because I think if you talk about like the young was like the gym bro, like also the Strava merchants.
Okay,
Strava's
yeah,
gone
okay.
huge. Running's become huge in South Africa.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like the things, do you think it's a necessity or nice to have things like, for example, creatine, electrolytes,
Yeah.
whey protein, amino acids, BCAA, amino
Yeah,
acids, like, also things we hear like vitamin D3, omega fish oil, things like that.
Yeah.
You think it's a
You think it's
necessity
good?
or nice to have?
I think certain things are necessities, like for example, omega-3. Like you need certain nutrients. Your body needs certain nutrients to function optimally. But if you're getting it from your diet, like if you're eating fish 3 times a week, you know, you're getting omega-3s there. So you don't necessarily need to supplement it. So it depends on your diet and, you know, and what type of foods you're consuming. I think if you get that right, that is the primary thing. I think the rest is like supplementary. That's why it's called supplements, right?
Wow.
So, yeah. Do you want coffee?
Yeah, can I get a coffee, please?
Cappuccino? I'll have a one of my coffees.
What's
My coffee?
What's one of yours?
Mine is it's called Mesquite. It's no caffeine,
Yeah.
so I don't drink caffeine anymore.
Okay.
Do you want to try one?
I'll try. I'll try his one. Also,
Yeah. Try it.
New experiences, new things.
Yeah, look, it's just a coffee alternative. It's like what you want is you want something. So I stopped drinking coffee probably like 8 months ago, 9 months ago. So I don't drink any caffeine anymore.
I mean, actually, I want to speak about that. I mean, if we just delve into both sides of like the entrepreneur, like the business side. I mean,
Yes.
I think I've experienced this firsthand. I mean, it's long hours. I mean, there's.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, caffeine makes the world go round.
Caffeine does. It does. It's true. And I love coffee. I mean, I used to have it every day. I had two cups every day for, again, over 20 years. But I also just like, I get to a point where I'm like, you know what, let me try something else because is this serving me well? Is it still serving me well? And let's see what happens if I don't do it. So let's see, do I feel better? You know, et cetera, et cetera. So I like to mix it up, experiment. You know, if something becomes too much of a habit over time, then I kind of...
You want to like change, basically...
Just change the habits.
Make your mind not like...
So dependent.
So it depends, in the sense of like free-flowing, like the neuroplasticity of it, just constantly trick your mind.
Exactly that. Yeah. So exactly. So what we do is we create these grooves of conditioning, right? So patterns. We create these patterns, and then the minute we start creating these patterns, it starts to form our identity, right? So, and in some ways that's very good. Like you can use certain things that are like building habits that are, you know, good habits. Like for example, going to the gym every day, or
I think I would say not going to gym, but doing some form of exercise.
Some form of exercise every day.
Yeah.
You know, being active every day. Like building positive habits. Like I always used to struggle with this thing of goals. You know, like working.
Don't we all?
No, but what I'm saying with that is it's like the whole principle of it. You know, it's like you get something and you sort of work towards that thing, and I don't know, it's something like in the sky, you know, that you're trying to get to, you know.
Okay.
It's over there somewhere, and that just never worked for me. So what did work for me is like know what you want, okay, more or less, that you're working towards, but discipline every day, you know, so it's small steps every day. It's like that Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. I think I don't know if we spoke about it or who spoke about it before. But Kaizen means like small improvements every day. So if you have, for me, it's more about discipline than a goal. Because if you have discipline to do the things that you need to do every day, you're doing them, ultimately, that's what develops you into what you need to be to have that.
It's
Right, if that makes sense.
There's actually a very good quote. I think it's in anything in life, when you chase butterflies, they go away. But if you spend the time and effort of just growing your own garden,
yeah,
then things will naturally come.
Yeah, 100%. So it is that. So it's about you becoming more, and the way you do that is through discipline. So it is the acts that you do every day. So like, what I think Aristotle said it. He said, excellence is what you do every single day. So it's not like it's acts. It's acts of doing every single day.
It's a mentality in a sense.
Yeah, it's discipline and doing, you know. So that is what creates. So it's what creates the reality, you know. It's because you're transforming through that, right? So so it's through becoming that you actually get what you need, and becoming is discipline every single day, doing what you need to do, even when you don't want to do it. So, for example, I always use the gym as an analogy for that, because it's something that you can measure, and it's something, like most things you can't, you know, you're not in control. We're not in control of anything besides what I can do right now, right? So people that want to control the outcome of things, you've got to come to realization that you're in control of nothing, actually. Because life has a way of throwing things and you have to adapt and deal with, right? So, but there are certain things that you can control, and that's what you do and what you decide to do. So that's the only thing that's in your control. The only thing we can master is that we can't master what happens outside. Thank you, Keisha.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the podcast. Sell them in the kitchen there too, a little quieter. Yeah. So, or just close the window. So, cheers. Here's mesquite.
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 What's in this?
It's mesquite. It's like a pod that gets ground up. It's just my coffee alternative, but it's also done with macadamia milk.
Oh yeah, I was wondering. It tastes nice.
Yeah, it's not bad, eh?
Subtle.
Yeah. So, and now you're not getting the caffeine boost right now. So otherwise, if I have caffeine this time of the day, you know, it pushes me out a bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, compared to the standard university lifestyle, I mean, bam, you go to gym, you see half the guys, mainly guys being just Monster, standard Monster Red Bull.
Yeah. Pre-workout.
This is pre-workout.
Pre-workout.
Yeah, actually, pre-workout something it was too intense for me.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think the human maximum consumption dose, like the utmost limits, I think it's 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. That's like the
400.
I think that's like the
So
limit.
how much is in a cup of coffee?
Cappuccino is around 80 milligrams, like similar to a Red Bull.
So that's like almost 5 cups.
Yeah.
That's way too much for me.
Let me tell you something about boarding school and studying the day before exams.
No, I know that. We used to have BioPlus.
We still have BioPlus. It's still there.
Do you use it? Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
No,
Not anymore.
okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Do you did you were you ever a smoker?
I was. Yeah.
I mean, since it's a day of trying new things, have you ever?
Oh, so I have tried it.
Okay, yeah.
Let me see it. I have tried it. So I've been sort of toying around with the nicotine thing.
Because recently I saw a study. It's basically if we're talking about Zens,
Velo, you have Velo.
Velo, it's like one of the Zens Velos, just like the different.
It's the
brand.
same thing. It's a different brand, right?
They're all just nicotine pouches.
Yeah.
Not the top part, the middle. That's used.
Oh, that's you.
So the middle
Right.
part, like the middle compartment.
Thank God I didn't put that in.
That wouldn't be nice.
And you just pop it open. So I have tried it. It kind of made me a bit edgy,
Okay.
like irritable.
Yeah.
But I have been toying with the idea, and I've kind of been thinking about it, like nicotine. It's another stimulant, right? So, sure. I mean, it's going to focus you. That's what it's supposed to do, right?
It boosts your cognitive abilities a little bit.
Yeah. And so I'm all for that, but like I want. So this to me is like a temporary thing, right?
Yeah.
So it gives you a temporary. So you become dependent, of course. So it's like caffeine, same thing, right? So you need your coffee to focus. What I want to look at is like, how do I develop that like long term anyway? So like, how do I get more focus? How do I produce that ability? You know, so like you said, neural plasticity, and also rewiring the neural pathways, right? So, and that comes down to what we were talking about before as well. So you would say, so changing habits, okay? Forming new disciplines, creating new grooves. It's all about patterns, creating patterns, energetic patterns. You know, that comes through doing and discipline. And one of the things that I would consider is like microdosing, microdosing as an example, to rewire neural pathways. So also like we're born in certain conditions, like conditioning. So like, you know, it's almost like certain people are, you're living in some kind of a, like your own little matrix, okay?
Like a conform, like a bubble in a sense.
Like a bubble, like it's like, and reality is kind of like conforming to what you're putting out. And that conditioning has happened since you were born into the person you are right now. So my thing is like, well, how do you change those patterns? It's all about patterns. And that is like what I've just been saying. But there's different ways as well. Some people go to a jungle and they go do ayahuasca. You know, I don't know if you've heard of ayahuasca before.
Heard of ayahuasca.
So ayahuasca is this medicinal plant.
It's dimethyltryptamine, the DMT.
Yeah, DMT, right? So some people go do that. You know, some people have a psilocybin experience or whatever, and that kind of, you know, kind of like shoots you out of the current, you know, position that you're in. So when you have these like awakenings or whatever, the awakening is like me awakening from like my old self, right? And you constantly want to be, my belief is that you constantly need to be developing that and, you know, creating new neural pathways that create different experiences and that maximize your potential in terms of, you know, what you could be, as an example. So that's the thing. And so some people find it that way, some people find it in different ways. But it's something that takes you, like shocks you out of your current way of doing things. So that little bubble that you're in, and like, it's not, you know, you often find people that, you know, the same patterns repeat, but they don't understand why. And they don't understand why certain things happen to them in certain ways. But it's because of what they, you know, putting out. So, and they don't have the awareness to see that.
I think, yeah, I mean, that's, for example, through microdosing, through, for example, I think the most common ones, if you ever have a look, just search up YouTube and stuff, the term is referred to them as psychedelics. And
Sure.
then it would be, I think, the couple common ones, the mainstream ones that's mentioned in like Joe Rogan, or you see those clips of people like seeing karma strings, all of those things. I think it's you have mushrooms, you have LSD, and then you have DMT. Funny enough, I'm not sure if cool thing is psilocybin and ketamine therapy is being like slowly tested in South Africa in universities.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, it like was it, you know, like clinical trials and stuff. They've been doing that.
Okay. Ketamine as well. It's a horse tranquilizer.
Horse tranquilizer, yeah. But I think it's for mental health stuff, for mental health and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the
yeah.
mind.
Wasn't Elon Musk using a bit of ketamine as well? There was talk about that.
Well, I don't know. And do you have his phone number?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, just super random reference. I watched a podcast a couple of days ago. I think you'd find it very interesting. It was a guy by, I think, Nikhil M something, and like he interviewed Elon, and it was such a good podcast. Also because it's one of those podcasts where you can tell the guy is doing it just for the love of the game. I mean,
Right.
he's an Indian billionaire, self-made,
Okay.
and he just bam and just start asking Elon. Look, he start cooking him, but like that's just my opinion.
Okay.
But was it? I think the reason why oh no, the point I was trying to make is, you know how weed like recently got deregularized,
Yes.
became legal in South Africa.
Yes, yes.
I think the same group of people who pushed that forward, who made that change, are also working for psilocybin. So mushrooms, psilocybin, they're trying to push it slowly. It's in the works. We don't know how long it's going to take, but they're trying to push that also to be legalized in South
Okay.
Africa.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. A friend of mine also. He also worked in China for a while. He's a doctor, but in with plants essentially, and they set up a facility there where they grow medicinal mushrooms, like lion's mane. You know, if you've obviously heard
Reishi,
lion's mane, all of this stuff. And he was there for 15 years. I think he speaks a bit of Mandarin now as well, but he's just moved back. So him and I, we were friends from growing up, but also used to do a lot of rock climbing together, in student days, you know. And
Actually, was it?
huh?
Should go rock climbing sometime.
Yeah.
It's been. I think
Have
the
you
last,
done it before?
I've done a couple. I did it more when I was a child. I think the last time I did it, I think was in like grade 6, grade 7.
Yeah, it's a great way to get outdoors. Tests you a little bit, you know, mentally and all of that. So, like my kind of game. And so we used to do that a lot in varsity days, and we used to do all kinds of crazy things. Like we used to go explore like underground like cave systems, like in Oudtshoorn, but not the stuff that you go into like the Kango caves. Stuff where it's like you wouldn't expect there to be a cave, and all of a sudden, in the back of a cave, you walk to the back, there's a hole probably like 1.5 meters wide, like you would never see it otherwise.
Yeah.
And it goes down a chute and it just opens up into these cave systems. And the one cave we went through was 2.5 kilometers through this mountain. Some guy died in there. So there's a part where you swim underwater, and you got to go through under the water and come out the other side. And this guy went on his own, and he got stuck, and he died in there. So it's quite scary. But that was all like closed up when we were there. So, but it just adds to the experience. And so anyway, we did all this crazy stuff, and so he is back in South Africa now, and they're setting up medicinal growing, so just part of the food health space, I guess. And they're growing medicinal mushrooms. And one of the things that they might get to down the line, once it starts getting sort of more legalized, is psilocybin for treatment of depression and all kinds of other things. So,
I mean, funny enough, you mentioned that. Was it Amit gonna try the velo maybe? Gonna try the velo maybe?
oh, the velo. Let me try it.
It's not. Was it super intense?
How
It's
many?
6 milligrams.
What is Zin?
Zin, it ranges from. Wow. It ranges from, I think, 3 to like 10.
Okay.
I mean,
This is in between.
no, this is on a much lighter dose. I mean, some of those like Swedish, like Swedish like Zins go all the way up to like 42 milligrams.
Oh wow, no, that's too much.
No. Like I've tried one of those. I felt
Makes you
nausea.
feel nauseous.
Actually, was it one of them? It was a day I lost a bet. After a certain time, I went and vomited. I got nicotine sickness and stuff.
That's not.
But
But what about the chewing gum?
Oh, cigarettes.
Yeah.
So actually, the reason why I have a velo and I don't have a vape, fortunately, we don't know, is because like nicotine, at least from what I researched and everything, I think. Let me be specific. Not cigarettes or vape and stuff, because obviously that damages your lungs.
Yeah.
But just like conforming, the reason why like Zyn got super popular is
Yeah.
it gives you that stimulus, that kick, which is, I would say it's actually, if I had to choose between nicotine and caffeine, I
Yeah.
would choose nicotine.
You would.
10 out, like 10,
Because of
9
the
out 10.
effects you're getting from it?
Because of the effects, but also I think there's slightly less dependencies,
You think so?
at least in my opinion.
Okay. 'Cause
Um,
nicotine is pretty addictive.
But
People that smoke.
So here's the thing. It's the reason why like vapes become so huge and stuff. Like the standard vape, as we call it, the ones you go buy like a spaza shop and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like the ones the students do mainly. It's at 5% or 50 milligrams.
Yeah.
5% salt, Nick, 50 milligrams. That is super addictive.
Okay.
Like extremely. I mean, I think when you hit a couple hits of a vape, like a 5% 50 milligram vape, I think I don't know the exact numbers, but
So there is nicotine in vape.
no, there is. That's the reason why. But I
Okay.
think it's almost so. I think it's like, how do I say this? If like cigarettes and stuff, the old days, the cigarettes and stuff gave you this much nicotine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then like a vape, the students one, they give you like that head rush, that sense of,
really?
that head rush. It's like probably all the way there. It's not
Really?
even comparable.
So do you think that's deliberately done?
Yeah.
Like to get people addicted to like vaping and nicotine?
Yeah, I think also becomes it's very habit forming and stuff, and also the idea of like just having something in your hand all the time, and
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're stressed, when you're going through something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you're tired, you just.
Yeah,
Just-
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. Like when I've seen friends who starts like quit cold turkey vaping after years and years. Sometimes you like, especially in the beginning, sometimes they just have it, and like sometimes they just do the habits of like having something to hold.
Yeah. So I've smoked and stopped and smoked and stopped many times. Like,
Yeah.
because I smoked in school,
You okay?
and
That's the best time to do it.
So, but I it just wasn't doing my lungs any good.
Yeah, no.
And
But back then, you guys didn't have vapes.
no, we had cigarettes.
Have you ever tried a vape?
No.
I think next time I see you, I think you could just
Just
try
try
it.
it.
Just try it
You
once.
trying to get me hooked on vaping?
No, no.
Huh?
Was it funny enough? Was it just going back on the topic? Was it speaking about AI? So AI is brilliant. So for example, I'm doing accounting 1.5 year, 1.5 year currently. In the sense where I failed a module, so I added a year last year. But the cool thing is, there were 2 things, and even the 3rd thing. I'm also going through a slight legal issue regarding my current like accommodation. Let's just say they messed some things up.
Okay.
And then was it like I've always done, but also I think I've always liked a certain parts of like law and stuff, because if you don't understand law, you don't understand how to protect yourself, you don't understand how the world works. 'Cause everything is based on evidence and
Yeah.
law. But I can tell you 2 things. So I think 2 years ago, last year, the internet company for my mom's business, like our family business before, like we closed everything down and she retired and stuff. Basically, they over debited our accounts and stuff. The way the world works, unfortunately, is unless you push them, they will always take your money. They will never care. I mean,
So ownership is 9/10 of the law.
yeah.
So possession is 9/10 of the law. So if somebody's paid you money into your account and you're sitting with the money, you're in the palm
Yeah.
position. So to come get your money.
So like you have to go fight to like
Now you
get
gotta
your
fight to go
value
get
and
it.
your money back.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is, So we had like, I think that was around like, that was around a 2.4 thousand rand compensation. And
Yeah.
then also earlier this year, I started a little vape business. That went okay. Then some variables happened which I didn't expect, that stagnates, that's not important. I can always sell the stock down the line.
Yeah.
But I also had a defective batch of stock from my supplier.
Right. Oh no.
And then obviously, they were on their website, the T's and C's, they were tuning absolute cuck.
Okay.
But both times through the internet was the company, the over debit order, and the defective stock dispute.
Yes.
Both times. So in accounting, fortunately, and also I've always watched like Suits, those law series.
Yeah.
But also in accounting, you touch a bit about just mercantile law. Not that really helps, but the idea was, for the first two instances and the current issue I have with my accommodation for this year, first two instances, I got both resolved. And how did I get resolved? I used ChatGPT. But also,
It's amazing.
it's absolutely amazing, and the idea of also like I did understand what I was putting, like the words, like the jargon of the law side. But it's amazing on how effective just
Yeah.
the analytical side.
Yeah, and also the thing is, when you all of a sudden you see something and it's like, sure, okay, now,
And it gives you, oh, actually, for this CPA law or for this like NSCC, this is where they violated, this is what they did wrong, this is where they lied to
well,
you.
you see, then this is going to open up a whole interesting thing. I mean, like, legally, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I don't know what the law is at this point in time. You know, so I know that ChatGPT is like toning down on their medical advice. Because obviously there's a lot of risk involved with that as well.
Then we get into the whole rabbit hole of like AI safety and.
Well,
which is
that's
a huge-
exactly,
yeah.
you know, and from a legal point as well, you know, it's like, well, what, you know, are you allowed to be using that or you're not? You know, that's why you're probably still going to have to deal with your doctor, but you could make sort of informed decisions, you know, let's call it that, if you do your own research. But yeah, I don't know how they're going to regulate all of that. And also, like, coming back to that social media chat, you know, we don't know what's real and what's not real anymore. And where does that go? You know,
Yeah, I think was it.
so people know now. People know. Like, look, this is, you know, you get some like, you know, you get some posts and you can see it's AI generated. So, like, what am I looking at? It's all bullshit. You know, do you know what I mean?
That's to put it nicely. That's to put it
it's-
nicely.
Yeah,
in
but
this-
it's all bullshit, and like, so it's all fake. All right, so we're going to be living in this fake world. Okay, people are going to know it. So my question just is like, where do we go with this whole social media thing? Because now, if not more than 50%, probably, I don't know, is what you're seeing is not real anymore. So like, we're going to look for, you know,
And that's
we're going to look for meaning in a different ways, and I'm just not sure, like, where does social media go from here? You know, are you going to want to be looking at that? No, I don't want to be looking at some AI generated like
I mean,
you know,
the
comment or picture or whatever it is.
the way I put it is, obviously, as we know, his history is like manipulated. It's fake, a lot of it. But obviously, but a lot of like the essence and stuff, even lies had to be based on a certain amount of truth. That's why that's why I love history. I love reading about certain scriptures.
Sure.
But the point I'm trying to make is, in this day and age, and that's why I mentioned the topic of AI safety, AI regulation, which hasn't happened whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is nowadays you could see a video. I think that's why social media also is still important. Why people are sometimes dependent on it in a sense. Funny enough, also people use social media as both like a form of entertainment, but also I think your brain knows when you're watching enough stuff that all lies to you. It's not good for your brain mentally.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is, with AI was never meant to be used for creativity, for imaging, it was never, the purpose, in my opinion, of AI was like for analytics, for data, for progression. I mean, if for all the money these big techs, and we're talking about not millions, billions, we're talking about trillions of dollars that have been spent on like pushing all this video generation AI stuff. If that same amount of money was used for like medicine,
Sure.
for biotech, I mean, we could eliminate half the diseases.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff.
we could, like let's be honest as well. I mean, AI could be used to solve a lot of the issues, the problems we have in the world. You know, we are very inefficient. You know, like for example, you know, pollution is a problem. Okay, we've got politicians and government that is a problem because you have mismanagement. You've got people that come in and they are corruptible. Okay, except in China maybe, but maybe that's where China does well. But I mean, if you look at the West, you look at Europe, a lot of it is corrupt. You know.
I think, sorry to cut you off, 2 points. One thing is, the sad thing with like media now these days is a video something that came out in the morning, in that same afternoon, it could be AI tweaked and it totally represents a different, like, and that we're talking about same day stuff, something that gets released, or you see like a true video, like that's why social media, it gets traction. For example, like let's say, if you're talking about like Palestine, Gaza, South Sudan, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But that same thing, within the same day, like before before we knew, there was always certain group of people and certain companies that control the media.
Yeah.
But now it lies straight to your face, but they do it so well because they just tweak a little bit.
Yeah, but
change the meaning.
they've always been doing it. They've always been doing it. Like we spoke about it before. Because it's now it is like certain the media narrative was also controlled.
MMS, mainstream media.
Yeah, it's controlled. The newspapers, the TV, whatever it is. So it's always been there. That concept has always been there. I mean, that's why they say the propaganda. I mean, the word of propaganda. I mean, where you had dictatorships, they were censored certain information that you were not allowed to see. They only gave you what they wanted you to see. And it's absolute propaganda. So the same thing, we're just using the same principles, but we have AI today.
Different way now.
Different way. Wow. Fucking hell. That was right in the glove.
That was personal.
Yeah. There you go.
Was it? So I think, to just speak briefly about China, I think there's 2 reasons why China grew so quickly and is the way for it is. I mean, 70 years ago, when the current China we know, which got established in 1949, they were like, I mean, before it gets good, it has to go through shit, as we know everything in life, the laws of nature.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing I will say about, obviously, we can always talk about like the party and stuff, the CCP, but there's 2 things I think. 2 points. First point is they care about the people. Nowhere in the world there will be absolutely zero corruption. That's impossible.
Sure.
However, let's just say in a way let's just say even if there was corruption, which I don't know if there is, but the point, what the Chinese do very well is they put the engineers. I think the biggest, if we compare China and America, the biggest difference for me, the way I explain it is, America, the regulations, the economic policies, they don't change. The political party changes, the left, the right, Democratic, Republican. In China, the party doesn't change it, but the economic policies, the regulations, they change. For example, China is one of those countries that, in a sense, they put the engineers, they put the experts into leading the country.
Okay.
Because, I mean, just to take a little dig in our country, I mean, we have ministers, we have people
With no
who are leading the country, who some of them don't even have a matric certificate,
Sure.
diploma,
Yeah.
much less. And then you have people,
Yeah, it's more about patronage.
patronage, yeah.
Yeah.
But but I think that also speaks about China's one of those places where it's meritocracy is heavily focused.
Yeah.
So speaking about AI, I mean,
Yeah. So it's gonna drive more excellence in terms of like, so if you are
it's
chosen by merit,
if you're good enough, you will always they
You're
will
gonna
always
excel.
value
So
you
you're
now.
always going to strive towards that.
Obviously, there's certain, as we know, like nepotism and things like that. But I think 2 points I wanted to finish. One thing is, you know how when DeepSeek came out, it just changed. Everyone's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
what is this?"
Yeah.
And then all the news. To briefly summarize the DeepSeek like overview, what happened, the whole project of DeepSeek took only $6 million. That's probably what one exec gets paid at OpenAI.
Yeah.
So very small fund. It was by SME, a small, medium-sized like tech firm. It wasn't even their main project. So it was like a side hobby project. And it was competing, or at least when it first came out, people were like, this is basically as good as ChatGPT. And then you also get the idea ChatGPT was originally non-profit, and then now they're trying to change that.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is the person who led that team, who like developed DeepSeek, right? When it first went online, gained international traction. Between the time where DeepSeek gained traction, that same guy who like was a nobody, let's just say he was a nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
That same guy, within I think 24-hour, 48-hour time frame, was in meetings with the most 9, I think it's the certain, I don't know the exact word, but it's like the core party of China. That same guy who was a nobody, because of how China values meritocracy and stuff like that, that same nobody, within 24 hours, 48 hours time frame, was in the meeting, was in a room with the most powerful men in the country. And that just shows of like how much they care.
Sure.
And
So they care about like advancing China.
advancing progression,
Yes.
innovation. Also,
Do they care about the people though? There's a question. I mean, I don't know. Like, are you, is it about sort of advance? You see, what I see is that in China, this is my view. It's about making China great.
yeah.
So it's about China.
I mean, one thing I'll say, like China compared to actually, the people know that the government cares about them. They do really care about them. China, for example, let's just say everything went to shit, and let's just say modern weaponry, everything that happened. China is one of the most nationalistic countries there are. The people actually care and would die for their country.
Right.
It's one of those like.
But so just as another spin on that.
Sorry, just I
Yeah.
want to touch on the last point I'm trying to make. For example, I think China does it extremely well. On 2 points. One is, for example, you know how in at least the West, or let's just say everywhere besides China, I'm not sure about Asia, but I'm just going to use China as an example. China does have regulations and stuff for AI. Like, I think the penalties, don't quote me on this, but the penalties, they say directly, you don't use AI to portray something which is not.
Right.
And the penalties can go all the way, from what I saw, up to I think R1 million. So like 2.6 million rand. You can get a fine if you use AI, and that just makes people more wary of what they're actually putting out through AI.
So the law is enforced very strongly. It's which is, I think, not a bad thing.
Well, it's better than
It's
99% of everything you see on that's lies.
Absolutely. But my feeling is, and I know you correct me if I'm wrong. I've never been to China, but it's just my perception.
You should go sometime.
Yeah, I should. No, I will.
Come visit my hometown, Shanghai. It's pretty
Shanghai.
cool.
So my friend that lived there, coming back to that guy. So his kid, he would put him in school there, and there were certain things that that didn't work for him. So he says on a big scale, it's awesome in many ways, but then in certain ways, he said it didn't work, and that was, he believes, and I'm just telling you what his thought was, that there is everything for the state, so that is one thing, but like his view was there was a lot of indoctrination at school level, coming up from young ages, and I don't know how true this is, but this is his view, and I'm just mentioning it. So it's like they had this one show which they put on TV. So you watch this in school, and like his son came home and he was like, he was never had a problem, but he was like scared to go to the toilet on his own. You know, he's like, eventually said to him, listen here, scared to sleep on his own. He said, listen, what's going on? And then he said to him, his son's young, he said to him, no, it's the Japanese ghosts. And he said, well, what do you mean? He's like, no, well, the Japanese ghosts are going to come and get us. So they used to get this program at school, you know, talking about these Japanese ghosts. I don't know what the relationship is with Japan and around that and why that would happen. But
I mean, to briefly summarize, I think a couple of decades of history. So through the fall of like was the ending of the last dynasty, the opium crisis, that change for, let's say, like the 1900s, all the way until 1949, when China went through both like a civil war, but also, at a certain point, to put it bluntly, the Japanese was like conquered China for a bit like that.
yeah,
And then we all know what happened, was it in World War II, and then that ended Japan, and then that's how, funny enough, so you had the Kuomintang and the Gongchandang. That's where like the whole issue we're speaking about, like Taiwan and China.
right.
Personally, my personal opinion, Taiwan's just part of China, Hong
part
Kong.
of- it's part of China, eh?
That's not. I mean, you can obviously say like you have obviously different issues, the UN and stuff. In my opinion, it's very simple. Taiwan is a part of China. If you ask me for my opinion on it,
Sure.
and that's
I don't
how
know
it is.
enough of the history, but I hear you.
But I think if we're speaking about the indoctrination, is every country has a certain narrative, a certain agenda, a certain indoctrination.
Sure.
But I think the one thing I can say about China is it's like the less of all evils.
And that's the big debate.
sacrifices you
it's-
make
it's
for
exactly,
certain
yeah,
things.
sure, and that is the big debate. But
And-
what they do want is they want conformity to, this is my view, to the ideal of what China is. So if you step out of line, you're gonna be like Mao when he started talking about certain tax issues in China or whatever.
Oh, I mean Xi Jinping, the current one.
Not
no.
sorry, not Mao. What's his name? The entrepreneur in China. What's his name?
Oh no,
Jack Ma.
Jack Ma.
Jack
Guy
Ma.
from Alibaba, yeah.
Yes, I mean they basically took him and like call it. He disappeared for a little while, and then he came back, and he was sort of back in line again. So, what my perception is, like China, controlled by the CCP, it's all about China, and they have the ideology of what it is going to be, and the population buys into that, and you follow that, and this is how we become, great, I guess, and it's what's working for China in many ways. You can look at the pros and cons of that, because there are, of course. In the West, you can look at America and look at what's going on there, and you've got two-party states, and they're always fighting against each other, and they can never, make the clear decisions of what needs to happen. Now, there's other debates around that as well to say, that is, it could also be deliberate, that it is divide and conquer. So you've got two groups. I mean, family members sometimes don't even speak to each other because of different, parties that they believe in. So it does create friction, and it does.
I think.
Whereas with China, you've got one entity making the decisions, and everybody's got to fall in line. And if you do step out, we're going to bring you back in line. And within that, there's a bit of freedom. You live nicely as long as you're in that. Life is good.
China's standard of life, for example, to touch on China's cost of living, for example, like let's just say, I think when you speak about like economics, like a standard bundle of goods.
Yeah.
That has, it's one of the few. It's probably, I think, the lowest like inflation of that over the last 20 years. I mean,
Yeah.
it really hasn't changed. I would say I think if I just had to put my heart down to China is, if you look, I understand. I think the culture, the history a bit more
Sure.
than you. I hope so.
Yeah, I would think so.
But it's always, I mean, it's always been like that in a sense, and
Sure.
they've never
and it
lied,
is-
they've
and it
never,
has- it
and
has
they've
always
never,
been
and
like
they've never like done it behind. They've always said this is the way, and this is the way we. But they've always put
But
straight
it's,
to your
that
face.
that is historical. I mean, China. That is
I
the,
mean,
the,
we had emperors back in the
yeah,
day,
sure. So it is the culture. It's part of the culture, right?
and I think the culture of that is also the reason why in China, from 94, in a period of 70 years, you went from the equivalent of that, of the dynasty fall and all the issues. It went from like a third world country, as we put, into the second greatest nation in the world.
Sure. Well, and here's the other thing. So what's happened in the West now? It's the West is being diluted. You know, it's
Well,
being
it's not, I mean, have you looked at UK for your?
yeah, it's being diluted. So the ideology of the West actually comes back to Greece essentially because that's where it was formed. You know, the democracy, logic, reason. You know, it was formed there, and those ideologies are being eroded, essentially. So China works in many ways like that only because it's got the population that aligns with the ideology, whereas we don't have that in the West anymore. That's being eroded. Whether you can talk about whether that's deliberate or not, but you know whether there's other forces around that. But the West is being eroded. Even the US, you know, and it's also probably part because of history. So what they did was they brought slaves in, you know, and it mixed the population, and because of that, you've got different cultures that you struggle to bring in alignment to work towards a common goal, in my opinion. And I think that's what works well in China.
I mean, China also has its own social media ecosystem, as we know
Sure.
it, the Great
Yeah.
Firewall.
Yeah.
But I think it's, if we delving back actually to like one of the first points you were talking about, is with things like social, people were much happier. I would say your generation will live a much content, fulfilling life compared to our generation.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is social media. And the issue with social media is, it's, I think one of the best ways I've heard it put is, you compare your average day to someone's best day or best highlight reel, right?
Yeah.
And if you, I mean, like let's just say, for example, if we speak about let's say the relationships or the dating issues of the current world. Last time I read upon the statistic report is, never in this world, like even China has its like a lot of issues, just the whole world has its issues, but through social media is, we are at the highest rate for the young generation, I think Gen Z as we call it, is by 2040, I think we will have, I think 48% of the world will be single. I mean, and then as we know, like with the population growth, I mean, a lot of the old people, like Japan, for example, is going through a population decline. Countries more and more realize they don't have enough people to support the countries.
Yeah.
So to put it bluntly, we are at all-time high of the young generation, and the young generation matters because it's the future of the world for every country. People aren't being in relationships, people aren't having intercourse, people aren't having kids, and with all three of those things combined, it's not a good thing. It's an inevitable bad outcome.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about social media is, like, the way I put it is, compared to everything, the old ways, as you said, if we're talking about like a fair capitalistic world, back in the days, the people who did earn money, through good or through bad, but mostly, let's take all the people like the big companies and all of that stuff, they created value. Value then in turn creates money.
Sure.
And values, like the good values and stuff, for example, let's say an international law firm. I'm sure it started with one client, then they went bigger overseas, but they solved problems. But now you have now you have, let's say, OnlyFans, all
Yeah,
these
you're not
gambling
really. Yeah,
websites, and
it's more feeding into. It's feeding into. Um, um, what's the word? Desires. You know, it's not.
the seventh
Yeah,
deadly sin,
it's
seventh
feeding
sin,
into desires, and it's not. It's like you said. It's you're not creating value, but you're just feeding into like meaningless, and it's
degeneracy. To put it bluntly.
degeneracy is the word, um, and and um, and so you need to go back to like, and maybe this is where we're going to get to. I think it will eventually lead us to a path of like, if AI is going to be contributing in many ways to, you know, what we do and how we do things, what do humans end up doing, right? And we can't go down that path of degeneracy, okay? We can't go down that path because that's a path to hell, essentially. As I said,
So I really want to add like when I was through social media, I saw this, and I really just I looked at this for a while. It's the path to heaven feels like hell,
Yes.
and the path to hell feels like heaven.
sure, it's exactly that. So the path to hell is wide open, it's easy, and it
So, yeah.
slopes, right? The path to the righteousness or a better, you know, doing the right thing is difficult. You know, it's steep and hard. And that's where the discipline part comes in, because the discipline is the thing, the perseverance, the character trait that's what develops you, essentially, is that perseverance and discipline to work towards something that is difficult. You got to do hard things, because that's what develops character. And if it's just easy, it's easy to go make $1 million on OnlyFans, right? But where does that path lead you? You know, as an
think-
example,
And I think another thing is issues with the world we have
it's
today.
not only about this. You know, it's about much more than that, and it's easy to buy into the money side of things.
Also, the issues, I think one of the biggest issues, and I don't think people understand the core of the thing, is negative values, the extreme things. Like on the internet, people post on social media, trying to get clickbait, trying to get the views and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, with the current world is the bad stuff, the degeneracy, the sins of the world. Unfortunately, makes the money, like gets the attention.
Sure, it does. It does. But that's where the discipline comes in, right? Because if you become a man or woman of substance, right, of value, somebody that people can look up to and respect, you know, why do people do that? It's because you've done something that is difficult to do, and you represent something. Whereas if you just, you know, park off at home all day, you know, watching porn, you know, jerking off, whatever you do, you know, it's just it's a path of degradation. So yeah, you got to become the man of substance and of discipline and value, and that's the difficult path, but the worthwhile one. That's the one that's the right way to go.
But the right thing to do is always more generally the hard thing to do. And
Yeah.
with our world, our generation, I think we always just want
looking for
what's
quick fix.
easiest. I mean, gambling, for example. I think the attraction of it, people see things, or even close friends. I mean, you always have that anomaly, and like someone puts in like a story I heard one time, like you know the LARPer.
Yes.
I mean, one of my friends, he told me a story, like lost 800 Rand, like was super drunk, bam, puts on like some random casino game, won 27,000 Rand.
Yeah.
And people
okay.
see things like that and just
but
like,
I mean, you know, that's like, you know, it's, and we place like we kind of place value on that somehow.
and we almost, we're almost in a sense like support it.
Yeah, because it's, I don't know, it's cool or whatever it is, but
I think never more in society have people place self-identity and self-worth directly in correlation with money. Never more.
Yeah, so those strong drivers, like you said, sex, you know, money, greed, You know, those seven deadly sins you speak of.
It's also a cool anime.
It's there for a
if
reason. It's there for a reason. And look, it's not the first time it's happened. I mean, even if you go read some like biblical,
I
like
mean, gambling's been part of like humanity.
yeah,
like,
old
forever.
biblical stories. I mean, you go there. I mean, if you look like stories like in where, like some of the Old Testament stories, as an example, which I told you before, it's something that I've just been reading lately, just for interest because it's such an important book, you know, in the world. And you know, you had like cities like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? It's where the word sodomize comes from. Uh, and
What does sodomize mean?
sodomize means like you know, like raping, but like men,
Okay.
you know,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. And that's what they would. That's where where the terminology actually comes from. And there was a story of I can't remember who it was, but they were, you know, these men saw these foreigners coming in, and that's what they wanted to do to these guys. And God looked at that, and He destroyed that city eventually because there was so much sin in that city. So all these struggles we talk about, like, have been going on since antiquity. You know, it's part of the human nature and experience, and it's why we say that is the, you know, there is a path to go, which is the righteous path, and there's the other path which leads you into degradation and the wrong experience. Let's call it that, or path of hell. Let's call it that. I mean, as the biblical terminology would say it, and it's that state of being that's the hell, essentially. So it's always been there. It's always been there, and it's something we as humans, we need to overcome those things. I think we all delve into it a little bit. I mean, when I was younger, I also had.
Without the darkness, how can you ever like
exactly.
appreciate the light?
Well, that's it. And all the great prophets, even of the Old Testament, you know, they all were flawed people. They were people that went through difficult times, went down the wrong path, but they made a decision to say, okay, from here, I'm gonna make decisions in the right way, and that's when you align with, you know, the greater good of things, and go down the right path. So, so I think we all have to come to that point of decision. It's like, I've tried this. This is where it takes me. It doesn't take me in the right way. It doesn't feel good. Like, you have to have that awareness, and then you need to come to a point and say, okay, no matter what, it's like a do or die type of decision. And I had that as well, probably around the age of like 24. Okay,
How old are you?
I'm 46.
You're amazing.
Huh?
You look amazing.
For 46. Yeah, thanks. But it's
Took a lot of effort, eh?
yeah, a little bit of discipline, you know.
Just a little bit.
So, but at 24, I made that decision, and that decision was basically, no matter what comes my way, and this was for business as well. It's like, I will come out on top. So that was my mindset. It's like, no matter what comes my way, no matter what life throws my way, I'll come out on top. And that's like a do or die type of decision scenario. It's like, you got to be prepared to almost die for your own
Belief, your
own values. You know, it's like, it's to that extreme, like, that you need to go.
Would you say that's probably the most important fact that helped you for your entrepreneurial success?
100%. Because
no questions asked.
No questions asked. That was it. Because I remember it clearly, because I said it to myself. Is no matter what, this is what I'm gonna do. So nothing's gonna stand in my way, nothing. And that's, so I'm gonna get what I wanna get. and that was a decision I had to make. So that you're not going to get that in a degree. You're not going to get it, anywhere else. But like you deciding something, and it's like the point where in life where you put your stake in the ground and say, okay, this is
it.
This is it now. This is it now, and now like you make it, and sure, it's like it's fun. I mean, you have fun along the way, but it's also about your approach to things. It's like how do you approach it, and how. So yeah, it's like, do you see challenges as opportunities? That's what I believe. I believe everything that is thrown in your path, so the problem, we said it before, like the problem becomes the way, right? So it's like, so the problem is the way. So if something gets thrown in your way, some people see it as a catastrophe. They get broken by it. Whereas you could see it in a way where it's like connecting the dots going back, and you can't connect them going forward. You can always look back and say, that's why that thing happened. It had to be difficult because I had to do certain things, So
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
it makes you stronger, but it's also about how you view the problem. So like some people get broken by certain things, and some people get. You can say, okay, well, what is breaking you? Like, is it because you didn't get what you wanted? Okay, sure, I didn't get it now temporarily, but long term, it's just another way of getting to where you want to go. It took you down a different path. Maybe there was something that you didn't know now, but you had to learn in another way. But it's like a small kid. I want it now, and if I don't get my way, I'm upset about it. Right? So.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah, you need to be able to, endure a little bit, and that builds the character, and also, yeah, I think that's a big thing. But you have to develop that mindset of, no matter what, I'm going to keep going, because if you stop, well, that's where failure exists. So,
well, I think last 2 points and also closing points is. Before that, I just want to say, like, I saw there's this guy called Andrew Tate. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him.
No.
And obviously, for all the things, the good and the bad, whatever preaches, there's one thing that actually it did resonate. It's money is an amplifier, for example. If money doesn't make the man makes the man.
That's true.
If you're, sorry for the language, if you're a bitch before he had money, after he had money, you're still a bitch. It doesn't change anything.
But how do you, yeah.
Like if you're a man without substance, without character, without the things that
it's gonna perpetuate. It's like some guys, they've got a thing for women, as an example. They make a lot of money, and then it just becomes a debauchery, and then they through that also come to realize some people just have different ways of going about it.
So, so since you've been in this health and wellness, and also I think just restaurant, like service industry,
agri-food,
I think I want to, if you could tell South Africa, if you could tell the world just 3 points on, like 3 lessons, if just 3 points you want to make about both food, both like what you put into your body, and also just 3 points. From what I've seen, your restaurant has a pretty good turnaround.
Yeah.
3 points about health and wellness, what you consume, and also 3 points about what makes a restaurant, what makes a cafe, what makes someone want to go there.
Right. So this is one of my businesses. So I also have other. I don't know if you know that, but yeah. So
You'll tell me later.
Yeah. But in the restaurant space, but in other parts of the food business as well. But specifically in this side, it's, I would say, what makes the restaurant successful? Is that what you're asking?
What? As we know it, the hospitality service, like a restaurant, is one of the most cutthroats and has one of the highest elimination rates. What made Yo-Yo Cafe still stand to this day?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of different things. It's about an experience. People want to have an experience. Sometimes it's a bit of an escape from your day-to-day life as well. So they want a place where they can go and escape maybe some of the day-to-day things that they're going through, whether it's office time or, you know, a situation or whatever. So you need to create an environment where people feel welcome. It's a little bit of an escape. The service is good. Obviously, you've got to focus on service. The quality of the food is good. And it's a place where they feel welcome and good coming to, essentially. But it's about an experience from the minute you walk in the door to when you sit down at the table and to when you exit the restaurant. And one where you got to feel good about the space, essentially. So it's about creating a feeling, really. Fundamentally, that's what it is. And you do that through different, you know, components that you need to make sure happen properly.
How important is consistency in the hospitality?
Very. I mean, it's everything. So it's people they'll either move on to the next thing. So you have to be on your game all the time. So you're only as good as the last meal that you had, right? So it doesn't matter you have a reputation, of course, but for us, it's always about you're only as good as the last meal that you had or the last experience that you had. So consistency is hugely important.
I remember I talked briefly about one time we were talking. Reports I read, I think the first 3 times when the customer visits a cafe or restaurant is the 3 most important times. After the first good experience, I think there's a 60% return rate.
Yes.
After that, I think it goes to 80, and then after the 3rd time, you have a customer for life.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I think so, yeah. So I've also, some other business that I do, we supply retail. So like if I'm developing a product, let's say for retail, first thing is like the packaging is going to look great, right? So it looks good. So you drive past, you see something, you go, I want to go try this place. It looks good. If you walk in and the product is not good, you're not going to come back, right? So like it's the first time you buy that product. You're going to open it up, you're going to taste it, you're going to try the product. If that experience is not great, you don't have a repeat customer. So that's the first thing. So you need to be visual. You need to be able to grab attention. The packaging, the marketing needs to be good. And then, of course, the product needs to be good. So you need to execute on the product. If the product experience is good, you've got a customer coming back. Then they need to be able to find it again. So
Accessibility.
You need accessibility. So you need to be in all the right places. If it's difficult to find you, if the product is that good, I might drive a little bit to go see it or go get it, but not for long. You know, it also depends on the type of product that it is. But from a food point of view, you need accessibility. You need eye level. You need to be visual. People need to see it, and then try it. And if you get it, and they like it, they're going to talk about it. You're going to get more customers coming, and so it's a sort of a snowball effect.
What's 3 things, just 3 things that they can take action directly today that could improve? I mean, as we know the saying, health is wealth, a healthy body is a healthy mind.
Sure.
What 3 things could, let's say, someone who's watching this video could do today to improve their
Health.
body, their body, and in turn, also their mind?
Yeah. So exercise is obviously one. That's a big one. And then what you put in your body, and then the environment that you put yourself in. So I would say those 3.
So would you also say mental health is also extremely important part?
100%. Yeah. No, and that comes down to. So firstly, if you exercise, it's equivalent. Exercising 3 times a week is equivalent to taking antidepressants. So that already boosts you, and then of course the food that you eat is giving your body what it needs. You know, often you find people not eating correctly, they're not functioning optimally. So it makes it more difficult for your body to function in the best possible way. So depression, things like that can also stem from that. And then, of course, the environment that you're in, whether that's your relationships socially. So if you're in bad relationships, you need to move yourself out, and or toxic relationships, move yourself out and surround yourself with the right type of people, people that are representing what you want out of life. People that are successful, people that are winners, and that's a big factor as well. So who you surround yourself with is big. And that all contributes to your mental health, your state of well-being, physically, mentally, your idea of your perception of yourself as well. So you want to take that up.
I think, and then the tradition which I'm doing for this season of podcast, and the closing question and statement is, life is like a book, right? As we know it. If you had to say, if your life was a book, what chapter are you on in the book?
That's interesting. I'm getting started. It's like I would say for where I want to be, and where I'm now, I'm in the, I would say, sort of just before middle of the book. So I've got a whole lot to go still. And the enrichment that comes out of, the holistic view that I've mentioned to you is huge. So the real living is lived in that space for me. So when you don't know where you want to go, you kind of figuring things out. You trial and error. Like I said before, we all go through those things, and I think that the actual living part of getting to the place where you want to be and enjoying that space, I think that's where the real living happens. So I would say, pre-middle of the book, and got this whole wide space to still explore.
And the climax is still coming.
It's still coming, for sure.
And so a lot of people, I think, one thing I see is like a lot of people, once they have children, their life starts stabling down.
Yes.
Less risk.
Yes.
Just enjoying just calming down, and I think that's a turning point for them. You don't think that is the case for you?
Calming down in terms of, just settling down. I think there is an element of settling, a little bit more settled. I have family now, so of course, I'm not like doing certain things that I was doing when I was younger, but definitely still exploring, living, developing, and want that for my kids as well. So I don't want a boring life for them. I want them to experience excitement and we travel a lot. We do cool things together, and the learning never stops, right? So we've got to be constantly learning new things and developing. So, and I think that is the beauty of life. That is the thing that you want to be doing. The minute you stop doing that, then you might as well, switch the switch off. It is about new experiences. It is about developing more. It is about experiencing new things. That's what life is about. So, but you want to do that in the optimal way, in the best way that you can. So when you come in with all of you, not like parts of you, So you got to live fully in the present.
And unfortunately, some people never do that, eh?
They don't. Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. That was good.